The theology of the Papal scholars, commonly known as the Scholastics. Therefore, that wicked and pernicious opinion of the Papal scholars must be condemned because it attributes grace and remission of sins to merit for a work performed. They say that a good work performed before grace grants power to obtain congruous grace, or grace of agreement. However, once such grace is obtained, the following work merits eternal life as a debt owed to the person's worthiness, which they call meritum de condigno, merit of worthiness. For example, if a man is in mortal sin without grace, but he does a good work out of his own natural inclinations, such as saying Mass or listening to Mass or giving a donation or something similar, that person now merits congruous grace or grace of agreement. Once congruous grace is received in that manner, he is now able to perform condign or worthy works and merit eternal life. Indeed, for this first work, God does not owe him anything. But because God is just and good, it is fitting for God to approve such a good work, even though someone living in mortal sin performed it. But from here on, God is now obligated to repay with grace. In contrast with the first work, for these new works that follow, God has now become a debtor and is obligated to grant eternal life. The reason is that now it's not just a work done out of someone's free will, performed according to the substance required by the work, but now these subsequent works are done by a gratifying grace, that is to say, in love. This is the theology of the reign of the Antichrist, which I expose here in order to better explain Paul's arguments. When you compare two opposing things, you can understand them better. Further, all are able to see how far from the truth these blind guides have strayed, how these leaders of the blind have veered from the path. Through this wicked and blasphemous doctrine, they have not only darkened the gospel, but vanished it and buried Christ altogether. It's like this. Let's say that I'm living in mortal sin, but I perform the smallest work that is gratifying to God. Further, I've done it not only according to the very substance of the work, but also because I am capable of doing something that agrees with the will of God. For that, God gives me the grace of congruous merit. Once I've received that merit, then I am able to do other good works that are now according to the grace of God, that is, works done in love. As a result, I am granted the right to acquire eternal life. Why then should I now need God's grace, the forgiveness of sins, the promise, and the death and the victory of Christ? If these things are truly this way, then Christ's work is worthless, and his benefit is cancelled out. That is because I have the free will and the power to do good works. I earn congruous merit, merit of agreement, and then eternal life through condign merit, or merit of worthiness. Such colossal and horrible blasphemies sound more like the arguments of Muslims or Jews. they do not belong in the Church of Christ. Those arguments are clear proof that neither the Pope nor his bishops, scholars and priests in all their religious teachings have the slightest knowledge or appreciation of sacred things, since they don't watch over the welfare of the flock. Instead, they abandoned it, but not before mauling it into pieces. For even if they had only looked through a cloud at what Paul calls sin and what he calls grace, they would have never compelled anyone to believe such abominable and damnable lies. By mortal sin, they only understood the external works done against the law, such as murder, theft, and the like. But they could not see that ignoring the truth, hatred, feeling contempt for God in one's own heart, ungratefulness, evil speaking about God, and aversion to God's will are also mortal sins. Neither can they see that the flesh does nothing more than think, talk, or do anything but oppose God and favor the devil. If they could have seen these horrible pests so rooted in human nature, they would not have fixed their sight on the wicked stupidities of Congruous and Condign merit.